It's been approximately 5 months since Niantic made those abhorrent changes to remote raid passes. Not only did they double the cost of these items, but they made it so that you were only able to do 5 remote raids per day. And of course, this caused a lot of fan backlash with the Hear Us Niantic movement, but it seems like none of that was fruitful because all of these changes are still in the game. I'm going to be talking about all of this in this video, so let's jump right into it. Yo, how's it going, y'all? It's me, it's Jinsula. I hope you're having a good day and welcome to today's Pokemon GO video. I am extremely reluctant to make this video, but I feel like it's about time that we did it. So, about 5 months ago, we had the changes to remote raid passes that was incredibly unpopular, and of course, a lot of players were thinking this would be the death of Pokemon GO, that a lot of players relied on remote raids in order to get the content that they wanted, and of course, with Niantic making these changes, it just felt like it was completely out of touch, and I really felt like, along with a lot of other players, that this was a very negative move. Of course, Niantic decided to double down, and their reasoning is that they felt like this was going to be good for the longevity of Pokemon GO, and they wanted to make sure that the game was balanced and fair. And of course, they wanted to enforce this philosophy of Pokemon GO being a pure exploration-based game, and they wanted to limit how much you can do just staying at home. Now, in that regard, I can somewhat agree. Like, I totally understand that Pokemon GO is not a game that was originally designed to be played indoors. And I totally think that the best experiences with Pokemon GO are when you play outside. But I think this was not the right choice, because when it comes to Pokemon GO, there's a lot of players who are not able to go outside, or in general, they live in a rural area where there's not even any Pokestops and gyms to begin with, so a lot of them relied on remote raid passes for their accessibility. That was one of the major complaints with the remote raid pass nerf, that Niantic was removing a lot of accessibility. So why has Niantic continued to double down? Like, why have they not reverted these changes after so much fan backlash and declining player numbers? Well, it's simply because players are still playing the game, and I really feel like the problem with the Hear Us Niantic movement is that it did not stick, and I admit I was a part of that. Like, I know a lot of players were really unhappy with how I've been going about playing Pokemon GO still, even after these changes, but that's the reality of it. People are still enjoying Pokemon GO in spite of these changes. Now, for myself, I have done a lot less raiding ever since these changes were implemented, and I feel like raiding is one aspect of Pokemon GO I just no longer care about. And I think that sentiment is shared by a majority of people, but at the same time, there's a lot of other things that Niantic has implemented that has kept me busy and enjoying Pokemon GO. For one, routes. I actually think this one feature did kind of save Pokemon GO, at least for me. Like, I've been enjoying routes, even though they're not necessarily in a perfect state. And I also feel like there's a lot of potential with routes. Like, if they continue to develop it and they continue to make it better, I do think that it will be a main form of gameplay for Pokemon GO in the future. And I also think that when it comes to Pokemon GO right now, a lot of what makes it rewarding is not necessarily tied to raids anymore. Now listen, this is not necessarily something that's good for Pokemon GO, and I don't necessarily think that for Niantic to continue to make remote raiding a thing of the past, like, it's going to be healthy for Pokemon GO moving forward. I really do think that when players are extremely frustrated about something, especially a decision like this, it's something that they need to listen to and they need to take seriously. I mean, a lot of players are still upset at Niantic for this decision, and I totally understand that, because when it comes to remote raids, it was incredibly fun and it was incredibly enjoyable. But ever since Niantic nerfed it to the ground, like, the game has felt like it kind of lost a big chunk of what made it fun. Yes, there's a lot of things that you can do in Pokemon GO that's actually pretty good, but at the same time, there's a big part of Pokemon GO that's no longer there, and I really feel like because of that, there's just a lot of players who are just not going to be enjoying this game. So what is my takeaway here? Well, I really feel like when it comes to this whole scenario, it was a huge learning experience for Niantic, or at least it should be. Like, Niantic needs to understand that the community feedback is incredibly important. When it comes to Pokemon GO, there has definitely been a decline. Like, within my own local communities, there's been a lot less players that have been active and engaging with Pokemon GO, especially when it comes to raids. And I also feel like, in general, the game just does not feel as exciting as it used to be. So I really do not know how long it's going to last. Like, I wanted this game to last for at least 10 to 15 or even 20 more years. I wanted it to be a forever game, kind of like games like World of Warcraft or League of Legends that have lasted for a couple of decades, and I really feel like Pokemon Go had the potential to be on par with those kind of games. And yeah, I still think that possibility is still there, but ultimately Niantic did a lot of damage to that, because doing this remote raid pass nerf has not done a lot of good for Pokemon Go, I'll be honest with you. Like, it's done a lot more harm than good, in my opinion, and I really feel like with Niantic, they still haven't seen that, and they still do not believe that their decision was a wrong one. But, you know, that's just my opinions on it. I've actually talked with people who work at Niantic regarding this particular decision. A lot of them are not happy about it themselves, but they do feel like it was supposed to be necessary. And yeah, we'll just have to see like how that actually ends up panning out. So yeah, it's been about 5 months and we still have nerfed down remote raid passes, and a lot of players have not made adjustments to it, and I'm really curious to see what the Pokemon Go community is thinking right now. So if you have any thoughts regarding this, definitely share it down below. I'm pretty sure this video is going to spark some conversations, because as it seems right now, it looks like Niantic is going to continue to double down, and they're not going to make these changes go away. And yeah, that's incredibly unfortunate. But yeah, with that said, that's going to be it for this video. Thank you so much for making it all the way up to this point. If you ended up enjoying it, make sure you hit that thumbs up button and subscribe if it's your first time here. And don't forget that little bell so you can stay up to date on whenever I make Pokemon Go videos. And I want to give a quick shout out to my patrons on Patreon. You all make this channel content possible. If you want to support my channel in any way, big or small, then do consider checking out the links in the description below. For all my patrons, they get a permanent spot on my in-game friends list. And any of my patrons will tell you I try to invite them to remote raids as often as I can, and a lot of them do end up joining up. So if you want to interact with me within Pokemon Go, like with remote raids or the friendship system, then do consider becoming a patron on my Patreon. And of course, if you want to support my channel non-monetarily, you can do so by following me on social media. I'm over on Instagram and Twitter, and pretty soon on whatever it's called, Threads. Like, I think that's the new competitor to Twitter, which Twitter is not even called Twitter anymore. It's called X. Like, what is going on with the world right now? Like, I just do not understand how things are shaping out. Like, I feel like we're all living in a simulation and the simulation is bugging out. But in any case, yeah, you can follow me on social media. I am at Count Jinsula on there. And yeah, that's pretty much going to be it for this video. I'm Count Jinsula. Be safe, have fun, love yourself, and I'll catch you all later.